If you enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like what you see on my channel and would like to support me on Patreon, click on the link below. Galaxy of Terror, the sci-fi horror made in 1981, was produced by New World Pictures. Producer Roger Corman's main influence was the 1979 Ridley Scott film Alien. The film would give a major boost to the careers of then unknowns James Cameron and Bill Paxton, who would be a long-term collaborator and friend of Cameron's. James Cameron worked on Galaxy of Terror as the acting art director. Cameron had already worked on a small number of films for Corman, starting with the 1980 sci-fi film version of Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai, with Battle Beyond the Stars, for which he would go from being just a model maker to a visual effects director, then to second unit director. And it would be obvious that Cameron was not going to just make models. He wanted to learn everything.
The way I did it was I came in through production design, which is good because you're thinking visually and you're very aware of the director's problems in trying to tell a story and how the environment is, a manifestation of the narrative in some way. I sort of proved myself as a production designer in the scrappy stay up all night for 15 days in a row kind of independent filmmaking that was done at Roger Corman's place. This was in the early 80s. And when they see that you have the creativity and the stamina and that you basically understand filmmaking, it's not a ridiculous leap in that environment to say, I now want to try my hand. I want to direct.
It would be Galaxy of Terror, where his true abilities and talents would truly shine. Roger Corman hired Cameron for Galaxy of Terror because he was impressed with what he had accomplished with Battle Beyond the Stars. The film would go into production for New World in the spring of 1981 at the Hammond Lumber Company lot in Venice, California, where New World Studio was located. Additional sets, which included the surface of the planet and the exterior of the pyramid, were built at the Beacons storage facility. The film was made for the low cost of $700,000. Galaxy of Terror was directed by a relative unknown, Bruce D. Clark, a New Zealand-born director who had worked on a number of films, specifically for Roger Corman. His first film would be the low-budget biker film Naked Angels in 1969, followed by the 1972 blaxploitation film Hammer, starring Fred Williamson. It wasn't until 9 years later that he would direct Galaxy of Terror. The story of Galaxy of Terror starts with the crew of a spacecraft who are sent to a distant planet named Morgantis to rescue a crew stranded there after their ship crashed. One by one, the rescue team are killed off in very bizarre ways due to their fears materializing in front of them from an ancient alien pyramid. Although Galaxy of Terror has a few ideas lifted out of Alien, it is in no way a rip-off. It's a B-grade space monster film, and it doesn't claim to be anything else. There are even moments of greatness, due mainly to the innovative and creative filmmaking techniques on a small budget by filmmaker James Cameron, who acted as second unit director and production designer, to even costume design. He also had the ability to figure out low-tech solutions on a limited budget, making him a favorite with Corman.
I just basically went up to Roger one day and said I'd like to direct second unit on the film that we were making at the time, which was a low-budget science fiction horror picture. And he gave me a camera and two or three people, and we started a little second unit, and the second unit basically became this steamroller that wound up shooting about a third of the picture because they were falling way behind on first unit. So they'd give me the actors and say, well, do scene 28 and scene 42. And
Galaxy of Terror would allow Cameron to pursue more ambitious projects. Cameron would finally make his directing debut a few months later with Piranha 2, The Spawning, the sequel to the Joe Dante-directed Piranha in 1978. Even though Piranha 2 was a major flop, Cameron would earn a good reputation. James Cameron would design the planet's landscape for Galaxy of Terror, and if you look at his planet designs for his film Aliens, you can see the similarities between the bleak planet designs of Galaxy of Terror. Optical FX supervisor Tony Randell, who worked with Cameron closely on Galaxy of Terror, commented that the sequel to Aliens, looks very much like Galaxy of Terror as far as the look of the film goes. Cameron and the effects team built the walls of the spaceship, the Quest, out of McDonald's cartons. A lot of special effects shots had actors combined with matte paintings and miniatures done on camera. The film would star a number of familiar faces. Actor Edward Albert would play the cool-headed main protagonist in the film. Erin Moran, yes, Joni from Happy Days, who you'll never look at the same way after seeing this film, plays Aluma, an empath. Actor Ray Walston from My Favourite Martian would play Core, the ship's cook. Taffy O'Connell would play Demir, the ship's technical officer. And yes, the man behind Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, would play Ranger, the ship's second technical officer. The late great Sid Haig would also star in the film. Producer Roger Corman was no stranger to controversy, especially when it came to sexually explicit scenes. Corman promised his financial backers a sex scene involving the character Demir, played by actress O'Connell. Corman decided to direct the scene himself. The scene was rewritten and was even more explicit, and featured the character Demir moaning while being covered in slime and having an orgasm, which becomes so intense it kills her. A body double would be hired to shoot the full nude sex scene. While shooting the rape scene, O'Connell was almost crushed by the giant worm prop, which the crew nicknamed Maggie the Maggot.
In the 80s, there weren't many women that played I was a tech chief. I was not a dumb blonde. So it's kind of interesting. Her biggest fear was her sexuality and worms. Well, what happened was I was supposed to, the first day I went on the set, I didn't realize, I looked at the script, there was nudity. And there was no nudity in my contract. So I called my agent. I said, Mike, there's nudity. He says, go in your dressing room. I'm shutting the set down. Calls Roger. Roger goes, okay, there won't be any nudity. I'll get her a body double. Then when we got into the filming of it, that at 4 o'clock in the morning, when I had had some brandy, I had no idea they were shooting me like that. They were shooting under the maggot.
Yeah. The sexual content in this scene was so explicit that the film was given an X rating. The editor made a number of small cuts to the scene, which was less explicit. These cuts were enough to avoid an X rating, although the scene was still banned in some countries. Galaxy of Terror was a moderate success for New World Pictures and Roger Corman, and was released through United Artists. Galaxy of Terror is a lot of fun and has a lot of B-grade style effects and gore. I really enjoy Roger Corman's films during this era, especially the space movies from Battle Beyond the Stars to Space Raiders. Galaxy of Terror, though cheesy in parts, offers some amazing work in the film by James Cameron, who really had a chance to shine, showing his creativity and versatility on a shoestring budget. Cameron would become one of the most talented directors today, who would make some iconic films. My name's Jonathan. Thanks for watching.